Goon Squad on 1. 3, 2, 1. Goon Squad. Welcome in, everybody. Fantasy Football Goon Squad here with you tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about our sleepers today, otherwise known as our Goons. But first, we're going to go over some news and alerts that just came over the past couple days, get you guys acclimated in. How about Teddy B winning a starting job? What do you guys think about that?
To me, Teddy B and Drew Lock are two in the same. I don't really see the offense changing much. Until Vic Fangio gets out of there, it's going to be the same horse there for me.
I'm going to disagree on that. Just because the fact of Teddy B had the fifth highest percentage pass completed last year. And I think with that, I think that helps the offense, and especially short yard situations, because Teddy B is also smart with the ball. Unlike when you got a young quarterback like Drew Lock, he's going to take the chance, and he's probably going to mess up a few times. And that's going to cost them games, and that's going to make the defense work harder. So I think that's the reason why they went with Teddy B right now.
Yeah, guys, I'm all in on Teddy B right now. I love it for Jerry Jeudy. I think the short passing game, the intermediate passing game is going to be awesome with Teddy B. Like Damian was kind of saying, you know, the passes are accurate, they're short, that's a lot of catches in an offense that has a lot of weapons right now. Jerry Jeudy, you know how he was last year, a lot of drops, a lot of uncatchable balls. I think this year he could, really excel with Teddy B. I'm excited for him. So let's go to notable roster cuts that could be happening here in the next couple of days, guys. Rashard Perryman, Rashad Penny, Peyton Barber, Benny Snell, Anthony Miller, Miles Boykin. Any of those names really stick out to you guys at all?
I think, to me right now, the biggest one I'm seeing would be Rashad Penny. I feel like every beginning of every year we hear something good about him, about how he's going to grab that second back role and be behind Chris Carson. And now to see he's on the roster cut, I'm not sure what happened between then and now. That's interesting to me. And I think, if anything, that boosts Chris Carson. I find him he's good, and I don't think he gets enough recognition.
Yeah, it's always like Chris Carson. It's like he's injured every year. Well, I think he plays like 12 games every year, though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Right around. I think we'd have to double check that. But Chris Carson's always a workhorse RB. I think he was RB12 last year too. It's crazy to think that people aren't high on him compared to other running backs, especially if Rashard Penny doesn't make the roster, because then it's DJ Dallas and a couple other people. So,
yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Anthony Miller. I mean, I feel like the Texans don't have too much weapons around them. So, I mean, they drafted Nico Hollins, out of Michigan, and they also have Brandon Cooks, who's going to be the number one.
That's set in stone, yeah.
Yeah, so Anthony Miller should definitely be, I feel, the slot guy in there. I think he fit really nice, and for him to be on the bubble, it's very questionable because he has very good speed. I think he fits that role really well, especially what he was able to do with Mitchell Trubisky in Chicago. It wasn't consistent, but when you don't have consistent quarterback play, you're not going to have consistent wide receiver numbers either.
I think they're pretty high on Kiki Kuti. I think that could be a reason.
Yeah, he's been with them for a while now.
Yeah, I think he'll be more comfortable in the system. But.
Yeah, true. Very true.
All right, the pencil back in here. So Etienne, obviously without the Frank mid-foot injury, out for the year. Devastating news for the Jaguars. They took him early. They took him in the first round. That's a big blow for them. What are you guys' thoughts on James Robinson? What do we think he's going to do this year now that Etienne's out?
I'm pretty big on him. I think he goes back to almost what he was last year. Last year he was underrated. He was a featured back, and now I know he didn't have Carlos Hyde and Urban Meyer, but I still think he fits the system. He's going to be the lead back there. I think this adds more carries for him, and he might get some passing work. Yeah,
Damian, so James Robinson, according to Fantasy Pros, is listed above Mike Davis, Darrell Henderson, Raheem Mostert, Javonte Williams, Chase Edmonds. Are you still taking him above all those guys?
No, I don't think he's going to get the amount of shares. Last year, if you look at his share time, there was no other running back they were practically using. His average percentage probably in game, he played 90% of the snaps. Not even Dalvin Cook, who is probably the best running back in football all around, where he can catch, rush, do everything you need to do, even pass block, okay? James Robinson was doing that. And that's because they had no one else there to help out. And I don't see him doing that because they also have Carlos Hyde. And Urban Meyer had Hyde back in college. And I think Meyer is trying to get some of his boys back together, as you saw with Tim Tebow, but that project just had to be ended. It just wasn't a fit.
Yeah, for sure. I think we'd have to look up James Robinson's snap percentage. I'm sure it was pretty high. And I think Urban Meyer, I just don't like what he's doing right now with everybody. Like, I feel like he wants to use Carlos Hyde. I don't know why. I feel like they're definitely going to bring in another pass-catching running back. That's why they drafted Etienne. They wanted to use him as that slash player, that flex guy, do different things with him, take James Robinson off the field at times. I really think it could be conflicting there with him. All right, that was our news and alerts section. Thanks, guys. So next we're going to go to our sleepers. Our sleepers are also called our goons. So when we refer to our sleepers, we might say goons sometime. Just an FYI for everybody. Damien's going to start here with a couple of his sleepers, and we're going to kind of talk about it all together.
I'm going to go with my first sleeper. I'm going to try and do one with each position, and then I'm going to pick out a single rookie. I think to try and even everything out. My first sleeper is Marquez Callaway from the New Orleans Saints. Look, the Saints need a wide receiver right now. It's a given. With Michael Thomas being out for we don't know how long yet. It's going to be at least 2 months probably. He won't.
Yeah, for sure.
Then you got Deontay Harris. There's DUI charges. We don't know his status at all. I haven't heard too much about him. And then Traquan Smith, a little bit banged up, not fully healthy. I'm sure he's going to play week 1, but there's just so many targets out there right now. I think losing Jared Cook as well. There's a ton of targets for this kid to get early in the season to prove himself, and I think if he is able to prove himself early, I think he's going to be a very, very, I think he's going to have a high wide receiver 3 upside, low wide receiver 2 at the most, especially till some of those guys start coming back. His average ADP right now is the 13th round, about pick 8. He's ranked 43 as well in PPR 2 quarterback leagues.
Gabe, any comments, or do you want to talk about Sam Darnold next? Or I'm sorry, Dan, do you want to talk about Sam Darnold next?
Yeah, I really like Sam Darnold this year. I think he fell into a great situation. I think he's in a position now where he can succeed, unlike the dumpster fire with Adam Gase in New York. It was a mess over there. They had nothing. Yeah, they tried getting Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell, to me, system running back, ain't going to really work out the way they thought it was going to be. But with Sam, he has CMC. We already know what CMC can do. Yeah. Sam also has DJ Moore, rising star in the league. Everyone should know who he is by now, especially in fantasy. You got Robbie Anderson, who they were teammates once already in New York, and they already had chemistry. So Sam going in there, he already knows one wide receiver, and I like Robbie Anderson on that occasion. But you got also this young kid coming up, Terrace Marshall. I like him a lot too. He's really proven himself. I know it's preseason. He's getting better. I think with more confidence, he's going to be that number 3 wide receiver in Carolina. More likely number 4 because you have CMC. You're going to throw to him constantly as well. But what I do like Sam Darnold though, because not just of his weapons, his line, everything like that. I like the coach. I like the head coach, and I like Joe Brady, as his OC. He's a quarterback guru. He helped Joe Burrow at LSU become something. Okay, there's a reason why Joe Burrow got kicked out of Ohio State. He had to leave. He wasn't going to start. Joe Burrow went to LSU, got this done. He looked great. That's why I think he was drafted number 1 overall. And what Joe Brady was able to do with Teddy B last year, I said about it earlier. Teddy B was he was 5th in the league in pass completion. And that's big. I think Teddy B also learned, from Drew Brees as well, how to play the game. And I think when you can learn from someone like that, it's going to help you as well. But
Gabe, any thoughts on Sam Darnold?
I'm going to agree with David on that one. I do think he fell into a good spot, and I think from going his past years to this year, everyone, he never was really good. What was his favorite quote? I'm seeing ghosts out there.
Yeah.
I think it all comes down to coaching. I think you're going to see that with a good system and much better coaches, I think he's going to be something this year.
Yeah, Adam Gase effect, clearly. Look at Ryan Tannehill, too. He was a bum with Adam Gase. He goes to the Titans. He's a superstar now, 4th-round pick usually in fantasy drafts. Absolutely top 5 quarterback the past couple of years, the way he's been playing. Crazy efficiency. If I'm not saying Darnold could be that, but if there's a small glimpse that it could happen, that'd be amazing.
There's definitely potential.
Yeah, for sure. Right now his ADP is round 11 in 2 QB leagues.
Yeah.
Pick 9 or
So
somewhere around there.
I have him in a couple of leagues.
Yeah. He's a 27th ranked best quarterback. I think he could be probably, if not top 15 highest I think I'll go is probably top 20. 15, 20.
Yeah,
is
I
gonna
mean,
be his
in the
range.
11th round in a 2 QB league.
Exactly.
So
It-
why not? As your QB2. I mean, even if you're one quarterback league, if you're taking him in the 12th, 13th round as a flyer, it's solid.
100%.
It's a solid flyer.
I think he's
So-
going to work out more than he will bust this year.
All right, let's talk about Mike Dog Davis. What do we think? Don't forget the dog, by the way. Dog Davis.
Yeah.
He that nickname came around in our fantasy leagues last year because of what Mike Davis did. He took over in week 2 when Christian McCaffrey got injured last year, and everybody started calling him Mike Dog Davis in our leagues. So we're gonna talk about him a little bit though.
Yeah, I love this. I absolutely love Mike Davis. I don't see him failing unless there's an injury of his. I think he can handle the workload. I think he showed that last year in Carolina. And
Are you worried that Mike Davis has basically been a career backup though to this point, and he's going into his 28th year or 28 years old, going into I think it's his 7th season. I'm not sure on that though. Are you kind of worried though that he's been a career backup to this point, and at the end of the year last year he kind of dipped off a little bit in production?
I think it worries. It has to worry some people. I mean, before last year, if I told you who Mike Davis was, I don't think anyone would know he even played for the Bears. He was like a third string running back on the roster bubble.
He was
And then
also
he
playing
played-
for the Seahawks as well.
Yeah,
I
he
think
goes-
the year prior.
He
But yeah.
goes from that to what he is now. It's a little bit of worry.
Yeah, I could definitely see you guys' concerns. I think he is a guy that's going to get probably around 200 carries this year. Give or take.
And I do think the volume is there. I
the
agree.
volume is definitely there for him to succeed. I think that defense is bad. I think that offense is going to be living on the field, and they're going to be in situations where they're going to need to pass. With Julio Jones gone, there's targets opening up. Even though Julio had a season last year that was riddled with injuries, unfortunately, there's still targets going to be there. And I think my dog Davis is going to be that guy to eat some of those targets up as well. Third down back, you need 3rd and 2. I think little underneath route right there, boom, you got it, easy. That's
Fair
somebody
enough.
you could trust.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's go to Michael Carter, that new Shanahan offense. There's not a lot of other running backs there besides Tevin Coleman, who kind of did play in that Shanahan offense a little bit, so he might get some carries to start the season. I think we might see Michael Carter take over a little bit later on in the season. But what are your thoughts, Damien?
Yeah, his stock has definitely went down over the last few weeks. I was definitely really high on this guy, and still am. His stock is obviously going low. He was last preseason game. He was a 4th running back in the game. That's scary, but also there's a new staff there. I think they want to get an idea of each running back and see an equal level of play. I think because I believe he started week 1 of preseason. Okay.
Michael Carter or Trey Sermon? Who you drafting, Damien?
I'm probably gonna have to go with Trey Sermon right now.
Michael Carter or Zach Moss?
I like Michael Carter a little bit more.
Gabe?
Zach Moss is dealing with a hamstring injury, and so sometimes lingers through the year.
I think I'd go Michael Carter there, but I'd take Trey Sermon before
Take
him.
Trey Sermon?
Yeah.
Michael Carter or Ronald Jones?
I'm going to go Ronald Jones.
Yeah, I like Ronald Jones a lot. I'm also a little bit scared of the whole split carries with a playoff Lenny,
Yeah.
But also I think Gio Bernard is going to take the 3rd down. Tom Brady's always had that 3rd down back though too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm
he's
not-
going to be the James White.
Yeah, let's get back to the sleepers here. We got Gerald Everett as our last one here. Let's talk about him a little bit, what we think.
Yeah, I like the fact that Gerald Everett might be in a situation to where he is the tight end number 1. I think he's going to win that job. Seahawks losing, who was it? Disley to an injury
Well,
last
Disley,
year.
yep, Achilles.
I don't
Luke
think
Wilson just retired
yeah,
too.
I don't think he has that job locked up. There are some guys in that offense that are going to eat targets, but when it comes to tight ends, I think Everett has a really high upside with him being an undrafted ADP right now. To undraft a tight end 1 is pretty remarkable. He's big, athletic. I think he's going to see some red zone targets as well. And I think that's going to help him.
I
get his stats.
think he was very, very underutilized in the LA offense.
Yeah,
I don't want to take anything from Tyler Higbee. He was a good tight end.
Oh,
He came on
yeah.
a couple games last year, but I think Everett. He's a big body. Sort of reminds me. I mean, when Seahawks had Jimmy Graham for that year.
Yeah.
Big body, athletic. I think he fits that mold, and Jimmy Graham was a viable fantasy option for that year when Russell had him. I think that he might be able to step right in there. And I know that Pete Carroll's also came out.
Yeah, Pete Carroll's
And he
come
said
out and
that
said
he
this
liked
is a
the
breakout
athleticism.
year.
Yep.
This is a breakout year for Joe Everett. He's calling it. It's camp talk. I don't want to buy too much into it, but it's definitely good to see some good news come out of camp, though, about this guy.
Yeah, when we look at tight ends in these late rounds like this, you look at guys like O.J. Howard, Cole Kmet, Hayden Hurst, Jimmy Graham, Anthony Ferkser, Jordan Akins. I mean, those are just a couple of guys that are getting drafted ahead of Gerald Everett. And you look at Gerald Everett's offense, I mean, we talk about Russell Wilson, we talk about the double coverage on DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. I mean, Gerald Everett's just big body down there, you know. Excuse me.
They did draft that rookie, Dwayne Eskridge.
Another great strategy that we all follow too is great or late for tight ends. You know, if you're not getting Kelsey, Kittle, or Waller, or Hawkinson or Andrews in those first couple rounds, you're basically going with these couple sleeper guys at the end. You know, you talk about you talk about Gerald Everett, you talk about Cole Kmet, things like that. Just a reminder for you is to have drafts coming up. You know, great or late for the tight end works great. If you don't grab Travis Kelce or George Kittle, try to grab 2 sleeper tight ends at the end of your draft to kind of make up for that. So, we want to thank you all today for tuning in. We appreciate it. Drop a like, follow, share, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at FF Goon Squad. Once again, we'd love to shout out James Rapinski, our audio and video producer. We love him.
Thank you.